It's I've been in the industry for such a long time now that it really, you do see people kind of started to taper off in these cold times. For me, I'd probably suggest setting yourself like a strong routine. Something that you're able to stick to. Say, for example, you have like a group of friends where you all meet up for every Thursday. I've got a lot of friends that actually meet up outside for long walks every single Saturday. That type of stuff. Get yourself a personal trainer is also a great one. They're going to keep you accountable. So I think those type of things are really going to help you during winter. And I think start plan of attack before it actually gets to winter, and you're not leaving it too late, because fail to prepare, you're going to fail. So I think that's a big one as well.
I didn't exercise until I was in my 40s. Like, when I say I didn't exercise, I did nothing until I was in my 40s. And when I started I started with Pilates because I found it really enjoyable. It was the first time in my life that I found something that was enjoyable. And the only other time that I trained was for my first wedding. And I got amazing results really quickly, but it actually put me off training because it was so intense and short and sharp and pretty injury prone as well, I would have to say, looking back on it, that I never then considered it. And it wasn't until I went back to my why that I went, you know what, everything I read about biohacking, everything I read about cellular wellness, everything I read about agelessness is, before you consider, surgery, any kind of crazy thing, they say sleep, exercise, and diet. And that seems to be your mantra, right?
Yeah, that's correct, for sure. I totally agree. I think a lot of us tend to kind of actually forget the benefits of what actually exercise is. And, when you talk about the experience that you had, about you went on this, crazy transformation before your wedding, that's, in all cases, that's not the case. I think a lot of us kind of, fail to actually make achievable goals with achievable time frame. I think a lot of us kind of create these like 10 to 12 weeks, like, hey, I'm getting married, I need to really get in shape really quick. And I think that's so toxic to anyone's mindset. And I'm so sorry that you had that experience, because it happens to so many people that it actually puts you off training. And the thing we need to really understand about training is not all about getting flogged at the gym. Training is as simple as, hey, I'm going to walk outside and I'm going to do 45 minutes of a nice walk with my friend. That is still classified as training. Anything that's going to increase your heart rate, anything that's going to put your muscles under tension is going to be so beneficial for you in the long term. We talk about, getting older, we age, our muscles start to decrease, we start to get weaker. And that is the importance of what training is about. So I think we really kind of need to remember that with training, and kind of not circle ourselves within that toxicity of creating short-term goals. Let's make it a lifestyle. And I think the more we can kind of, really understand of what that actually is for yourself, because it's so different for someone else. What I believe in might be different to you, but I think we need to really kind of just get those little things. You talk about the sleep, you talk about moving, you talk about what we're putting into our bodies. There's so many pillars that we need to kind of find the balance for to live a much more joyful life.
You're famous for your body transformations. And I think that, as I said, celebrities inspire the imagination. We think we know them. And nowadays we have so much more access to them via social media, so many platforms where they bring out so many aspects of their personality. And I guess the one that was just the greatest transformation was Rebel Wilson, who you trained and gave her the gift of being the person she saw in her own mind's eye. And I think that that's the talent of a really amazing trainer, because it is such an intimate relationship that you have with your trainer, and so much to do with trust and vulnerability. And I would love for you to share, and I know you've spoken about it in the media before, and she's certainly spoken about it. Can you share with us the journey that you took Rebel on, and what parts of it you really had to make a decision to act out of full integrity and support, given that so many people were watching this transformation?
Yeah, for sure. I'd probably say, not just Rebel herself, a lot of people actually, view themselves and want to make a change. And I think, she did that herself, and so many of my clients when they reach out, because it's a scary thing to actually reach out to someone and be like, hey, I need help. I think we all struggle to, make that step. And I think
so about consistency and goal setting, whether it be with celebrity clients or with, regular people who've come to a point in their life where they want to take personal responsibility for their well-being. On the podcast, the podcast is called Ageless, and for me it seemed a really natural name and a natural fit for where I was in my life, but also the people that I've met as, a media person. And when we surveyed and when I did research on this whole concept of agelessness, it wasn't just about how you looked. It was about how you felt and how you performed. It was about health span as well as lifespan. It was about cellular wellness. It was about looking sexy, but also feeling sexy. A lot of people have said to me, the most transformative aspect of getting fit and healthy is that they got their sex drive back. And that, that mind-body connection was never more apparent to them than when they changed their anatomy, not just how it looked, but also how it felt. Can you share? I mean, you're an athlete, you're a professional athlete that became a trainer, that became a business person in the fitness industry. What have you learnt about biohacking energy? And let's start with, sexual energy, because it's that's a great pillar. That's a great goal to have, right?
Of course, I totally agree. I think, the best version of ourselves is when we're feeling the best within ourselves, So a lot of us, I guess, let's talk about clients that do come to me, a lot of them, if it's they've gone through a hard time and they're not feeling the best that they actually could. As soon as they start to train, as soon as they start to feel alive and they're happy when they look aesthetically, they're happy with the way that they're feeling, that you can see automatically on the changes that, they have within their lives. Like I just had a client really just go through a hard situation in their life. And, when she first came to me, it's, the first, it's always a talk and always a discussion on goals and stuff. And, she broke down and, and I could really feel the pain. And, I actually trained her today, and you really see the difference in 6 weeks and what a shift that it's changed in her life. She's very happy, everything's gone well again. When we talk about that sex drive, she's really enjoying it. She talks about it very openly now with me. And I think that's such a positive thing as well. Before she was very closed off, and now with all the training, she's feeling great, she's feeling alive. And now she's able to open up, and you can really feel the energy that she has and brings into each session and each conversation that she has with myself. And I think that's such a positive thing. And, and I think
what can you tell us about what are the best exercises? So say someone's listening and they're in their, 30s and probably not thinking about bone density yet, but it's coming. That conversation is coming. So you said that, in your 20s that high intensity training is great. Getting your heart rate up is great. Would you start really focusing on weights, muscle density, flexibility in your 30s? Is that when you would start introducing that?
Yeah, correct. A lot of us, in the 30s, we start to kind of get into those desk jobs where we start to round the shoulders, and, we lack that posture. So I think when we start to really kind of focus on weights, it's more about, correcting those type of techniques where we're retracting the scapula. So making sure we've got a strong back, we've got a strong core.
I immediately want to do this.
Yeah, exactly, because that's where the pain and niggles start to happen. We start to get those lower back pains because our glutes aren't strong enough, our core's not strong enough. So I think those type of things we're really focusing on those key programs where they're kind of working on that is amazing in your 30s. In your 20s,
what exercise? Part of having a training routine is having a recovery routine. What do you guys recommend at Acero? What do you do? What do you recommend your celebrity clients do when they are suddenly going from 0 exercise to 5 days a week?
I'd probably say within the clients that we have at Acero, in terms of, you know, the working load, we create, you know, like we talked about, we bring in the client and we assess the client in terms of their capacity, and we create like a customized program. So we change it every 6 weeks because we kind of start to plateau and our body needs new stuff to really attack the muscles in a new way. In terms of recovery, we've actually got someone there that works. His name is Jorge, which is simply amazing. But you focus on, you know, we talk about, you know, remedial massages. There's a lot of devices now that help release, obviously, the muscle tissue when it's kind of under tension. You know, we use Therabody, which is like those guns that you see around. A lot of people kind of applying them. So I think those little things that we're adding to our programs is going to help us within the recovery, and that's what we do at Acero. You know, we customize the program, we customize the stretching plan as well, and we also include Jorge within any recovery or injuries that someone may have in whatever they were doing.